guest in the studio, Shea Rubenstein. As a matter of fact, he came out with his new CD, Shea Plato. He's going to tell me in a few minutes what the words mean and everything like that, of where the songs come from. We have so many questions for him. And if you have a question, you can text us in at 347-927-8398. You can listen at calling 712-432-4217 or 718-506-9099 or on the J Radio app or on the Naki Radio. That's standing right so nicely by me. Anyways, I asked a riddle. I asked a question, parshat question. Why did Hashem say to Lavan, why did they do as the Mo, the Yaakov brothers? Anyways, so I asked that question last week. And if you want to advertise, you could email me at new kishroni hour. That's NEWKISHRONHOUR at gmail.com, or you could text me 347-927-3279. And if you want to text us in or you want to listen, 712-432-4217. And you can also participate by calling 718-506-9099. That's to listen. And yeah, I believe we're ready for Shea's Rubenstein, and we're going to ask our questions that I had printed out so nicely over here. And, Shea, anyways, let's talk about
First of all, I would say that let me jump. Welcome, Shea, to our studio. It's not the first time that you are here, right?
Thank you, Reb Nissim, and thank you, Reb Moshe. It's an honor and a pleasure to be back in the studio.
Yes, and great. I know that you have a new CD right now, and Reb Moshe, it's you the microphone right now.
Yehuda?
No, it's your microphone.
My microphone. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So basically, we know that the CD came out. How many weeks ago was this CD came out?
So this CD came out right for Hanukkah. It came out the Thursday before, so it's about 2 weeks, 2 weeks old or 2 weeks young.
2 weeks young. Wow. So how did you start off with the music? Number one, how did you start it off? What got you into it? What got you into singing? What inspired you to sing? So I know you wrote some songs yourself, right? How do you start that? What's the trick to this?
So first of all, good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to be on the wonderful J-Root Radio with Nissim and Maish. And second of all, before I start, tell me, which camera am I looking into? Is it the one straight ahead of me?
Right ahead.
Okay,
I don't know
wonderful.
If it's working. Nissim, is it working tonight?
Yeah, everything, Baruch Hashem, it's working. So
great.
So far, yes.
Okay, great. So, yeah, it's an honor and a pleasure to be back in the J-Root studio. I remember I was here before some of my concerts and last CDs.
How many years ago were you here?
So, that's a good question, but I'm not sure I want to tell you. It may make me sound old.
Oh.
But I've been here before. But I really do appreciate the opportunity. I started singing about 23 years ago. I was 17 years old, and I started singing. I became a chazan in the Bradley Beach, New Jersey shul. I think it was called Agod Sachem. So that's pretty much what started me off my career. And I went from there to some other shuls to be a chazan and a bal tefillah. I also was a chazan in Mexico for several years. And I put out my first album about 9 years ago called Ahavti. And I also put out.
I believe it had a song "Window in Heaven." No, that wasn't.
That's right. It had the famous "Window in Heaven," which had been, viewed since about 250,000 times. So that was a fantastic song. What's interesting is the song spoke to so many people just because it had a fantastic message, irrespective of my voice or of the production. People just loved the message that it gave. They always felt that they can connect to it. So I did that in many different concerts. The next CD I put out is this CD called Shirei HaPleita. And let's talk about Shirei HaPleita.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that
Go ahead, Nissim.
Jump up and down. I know, but this is a kishroni hours, right? This is basically, I give us to our kids the feeling that they can do. That it seems like you started a little bit late, right? I can't, do you have the I know the talent before 17, or just you discover suddenly that you are really like to sing 17 years old? Just for our kids, all the kishroni hours is basically to give our kids that all of us has a different talent. Everyone is, for us, for any kids, has a different talent. I know that I was a kid. I like to take apart stuff. This everybody also that I'm a little bit crazy. But talent, it's talent. Each one of us. So how you discover your talent, and what is give you the idea to come and singing all this?
That's a very good question, and thank you for that. So I started publicly singing at 17, but I did participate in choirs as I was a kid, as young as 10 and 11. So I definitely started my singing before, but I wasn't sure that that I wanted to do this, more professionally. And I do have an older brother who's a Baltfila, so when he pushed me, sometimes you need that person to push you. And when he pushed me, I said, you know what? Let me do Shachris on Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur. I'll do it for a small crowd out of town that doesn't necessarily know who I am. So in the worst case scenario, if something happens, it won't be the worst. And that's kind of what you need. Sometimes you need somebody to push you a little bit, and sometimes you have to listen to that little inner voice in you that says, "Give it a shot," because we all have talents. No one is standard. Nobody is just another one of 6 billion people. We all have our talent. We can either squash that little bug inside us that says, do it, or we can always, give it a shot. And as long as you're not afraid to fail, as the Gemara tells us, first of all, kol haschalot koshot, and also, ein habayshin lomed. So a person who's not embarrassed will learn. So you have that talent. You always wanted to do it. It's really time for you to do it. Now, you may have to perfect it. Maybe you want to be a musician, you want to play guitar, you want to speak in public, and you're not a professional. So there's no question that there's so many resources from, online courses and YouTube and mentors and speaking to people. For everything, there is always someone who can make you better at it. And, but ultimately, you have it, and you have to just push yourself just a little bit to want to come out of your box, and you'll succeed.
Well, that's I know that we have to along the hours, and we talk about the CD, but the question like this: how the parents, how your parents took it? How your parents, very important as a parents to see when they have a kid something talent, how they push it, how they doing it.
So that's a very good question. I think some parents naturally push the children, and the children are not interested, but it's what the parents think that they want for their child. But I think if you're a good parent, true to your children, you'll actually let them go after their own passion of what they want to do, not what you decided for them to do. Years ago, parents wanted their children to become a doctor, even if they didn't want to. I know I was trying to push one of my children to play guitar, and he said, Abba, I really don't want to do guitar. I like to do drums. And I said, oh, yeah, I'll buy you a drum set, and all I'm going to hear is banging and banging the entire evening. They say if you want a bad neighbor, buy your son a drum set. But then I came to the realization that if that's really what he wants to do, let him become a drummer. Let him have the talent of being a drummer, and perhaps he can use it in the future. So, number one, as a parent, let your children pursue their own dream. Don't make your wanted dream their dream. And try to nurture your children's dream and your children's talent. So if they want to do something and you feel that you have the capability, help them develop it so they can bring it to fruition. And of course, give them the confidence.
Yeah, very, very, very important message. And I want to the kids themselves, so many times you see, no, I'm adult now, but many times I see that a lot of adults, as you said, become professional, so professional because the parents and the environment just push them to do what they don't like. And then the end, basically, they're losing it. And the kids, if you feel that you really are into it, go consult your parents, consult your grandparents, consult teacher, rabbis. I'm sorry that
Anyways, so now I can answer my last week's question since I got it open finally. So the answer to the last week's question, what did the brothers mean by V'chachsenu as the moed? It wasn't last week, it was really a few weeks ago. And unfortunately, I wasn't here last week. And well, one of the answers was, we'll hide his death. And number two, the practice of murderers was to hide the death. Therefore, Yehuda said, we're going to look like we're killing him indirectly. Even this will have a severe punishment. And this week's parshat's question. Now, if you know this question, let me know. And you'll be entered a raffle to win this brand new CD, Shea Plata from Shea Rubenstein. That's sitting nicely right next to me. Anyways, the question is like this. It says Yaakov gave two brachas to Paro. Why did Yaakov give two brachas? We want to know, why did Yaakov give two brachas? It says he gave a bracha to Paro. Why did he give two brachas? The answer will be in the next show. And if you know the answer, you can text it in 347-927-8398. Unfortunately, I don't see it on the screen right near me, but hopefully Nisim gets the message. Or you can text me all week long, 347-927-3279. Or you can send your Mazel Tov right now to 347-927-8398. Or you can call the studio, 718-683-5858. Or you can send it to me during the week, 347-927-3279, or at newkishronihour@gmail.com. Anyways, yeah, so, please be mispal for Alexander Zusha Ben Eliza. And yeah, so Shea Rubenstein is here, and we were talking about his CD, Shea Plata, and we're also going to ask him some questions. When did you start playing the keyboard?
When did I start playing the keyboard? So, believe it or not, although I play chords and some other, I play, but I'm not a proficient keyboard player. I play guitar as well, but I'm also not a proficient guitar player. Most of what I do is actually singing.
So when did you start playing this? When was this? Is this when you're a young boy, when you're a small kid, when you're an adult?
So that's actually the irony. Going back to Nissim's question, I unfortunately did not start at a very young age. I touched the piano the first time, I think I was about 14 or 15 years old.
Oh, so you're still a kid then?
A kid, but not the same as when you start at 6 or 7. And then I didn't touch it again until I was about 23. So I think, starting late in life, it's true. There's nothing like starting when you're a kid. But yeah, so I definitely grasped onto it, but not as good as if I started at the right young age of.
See that, kids, if you start at a young age to start learning how to play an instrument, you're going to be able to know this for the rest of your life. So the same way with learning anything, if you start at a young age, and even if you don't get it and you're studying it over, let's say about 10 times, you're going to get it and you're going to be retaining with you throughout your life. So which instruments do you play?
Oh, it's pretty much the guitar and the keyboard.
Keyboard, no violin, no flute, no kazoo. I know Elimelech Adler. He knows how to play the thing with his nose. And
he plays with the harmonica and the guitar at the
same time. I've seen that. Yeah.
Yeah, he's great. I actually did a concert.
He actually might come in a few weeks and explain to kids how to do that, because that's a pretty big talent.
That's great. I actually did a concert with him in Las Vegas a few years ago. There was a shul that called up. He had lived in Arizona at the time. And I came in from New York, so I reached out to him to play in Vegas and
so he plays with his nose harmonica.
Well, what he does is he has a harmonica and then he has a band around it, so that kind of holds it in place, and then he plays strumming the guitar.
Interesting. Is your family musical? Like, do you get these musical from your family? Like Shweki, I know Shweki's family is pretty talented and musical. Do you have?
So I do have one brother who is Baltfila, but my father was actually a Rav and a Sofer, so there was no music over there. So no, I don't come from a very musical family, but I did come with a will to become a musical person.
I know. I've seen Shweki said he had a will. He started in music when he was a young boy. I don't know if he wants me to mention it, but I've seen that he mentioned that he got into some type of accident, and therefore after that he started singing. So
Very interesting.
what were you influenced by the old tapes, and what influences you to type your music the way you do it? That kids should learn how to compose a song. Like, what does it take? What do we think before composing? Is it like davening, or like do we think of a tune, or what do you do?
That's a very good question, and it's funny that you say tapes because people that approached me over the last few weeks
Ask you for a
thinking
CD or a record,
exactly. So it's funny how you can tell how old
or
people
the
are.
download.
Right, you can tell how old people are by the way they ask. I went to the Aguda convention the other week, and a fellow walked over to me and he said,
Yes,
"I love you."
I think I saw you there.
Oh, okay. So he told me, "I love your record." I'm like, "My record?" I said, "Give me at least I love your CD instead of saying I love your iTunes and download." But yeah, so it's funny. You can see, people say record, CD, tape, soundtrack,
Right.
or download. But when I compose, I think that it's there's two ways of composing. I think it's either
Like,
coming
how
up
would a
with
kid
that.
put a CD out there? I mean, I know Jonathan Scheinfeld. I know the Kinderlach. I know a few kids that have put out CDs. Yisrael Amar has put out a CD. How do you? What's in the?
What's the secret sauce? Yeah,
Yeah.
so I think the answer is there's two options. You can either find something that speaks to you, because that's really what it's about. If you want to have a song that's really going to make it, you have to find a message that speaks to you. Sometimes it could be a message that you want to convey, and you come up with a tune, and then you find someone, a lyricist, that can actually write the words appropriately for you. Sometimes you'll open up a siddur and a chumash, and you'll just come across a pasuk that means much to you. I remember when I once opened up a siddur and I started saying of harachamim before Musaf on Shabbos, and I came to the pasuk of Harninu goyimamai kidam avadecha yinkaim. Hashem, please avenge for the people that were killed, and Al Kiddush Hashem. And I was thinking, what type of song can I make that will actually tell the story? Because the beauty about song is that sometimes you don't have to talk and explain. If you sing that song correctly, if you create that song correctly, the song will speak for itself. And that's what they used to say about the chazanim of yesteryear. Today it's not that popular, but years ago they would call a chazan a zuger, someone who said, because essentially, even though he wasn't explaining what he was trying to say, but when you say with the right emotions and the right enunciations, and you emphasize the correct, words, you're telling a story. So it's all about telling a story. So I think if you know how to play a musical instrument, then you just hit some chords, and you know you start there. You hit a chord. You try to, again. You have to have it somewhat in you. But I think if you hit the chords and you play around with it, you can get a piece of a song, and then you build on it. And yeah, so I think those are pretty much the
So
two
let's say a
ways.
child that doesn't know how to play an instrument, that wants to sing. Can he put out an album? Can he actually, or
So
does he
number
have to
one,
know music? Or
so number one, children usually don't give out albums, and it's not necessarily a very
well, they could think of a
prof-
good songs, right?
kids could think of great songs, but there's two things. First of all, kids don't usually give out albums, and if you do, it's not necessarily a profitable venture. You're doing it more to get your name out there. Number two, singing has nothing to do with playing instruments. You can create songs and sing without knowing how to play instruments. It's just that sometimes it makes it easier. So one has nothing to do with the other. And yeah, so if you're a kid, if you're a wonderful boy and girl listening to this, and you have talent and you love singing, you know, you there's nothing wrong with trying to perfect, whether it's your voice or your talent, or trying to get to learn how to play an instrument. And then ultimately, you can try to give a dab at creating a song.
Hmm.
But even if you can't create a song, you can still take other songs. Like, for instance, Shirei HaPleita, actually, I actually took all of these songs are not songs that I composed. We'll discuss it now, but this is a beautiful album, and I didn't compose
Yeah, I
one
guess give
song.
me a 1 second. I have a few more questions because this is like because sometimes a kid will make a mistake, and he'll make a mistake in front of a crowd, and he'll feel very embarrassed. Now, while we're talking about mistakes, yeah, I'm sure every singer must have made a mistake in front of performance. So I'm wondering, how do you handle the mistake, or what do you cover up, or what do you do?
Wow, you're
That's,
asking a lot of good questions. I'm just
no,
wondering
I'm
if
just
everybody is waiting to hear about that. But no, I'm more than happy to answer all your questions. And
well, the
so,
children make a lot of mistakes. I know in front of crowds, they making
Why
mistakes.
children?
I'm saying everybody makes mistakes,
Everybody,
and
Jim.
sometimes in front of crowds. So
So what?
I'm wondering how we handle such an entertainer going in front of a whole, let's say 27. What was it? 2761 came the previous night on
yeah.
Hanukkah. So yeah, let's say that performance, someone the entertainer made a mistake. Oh, how do you handle that?
So that's a very good question. The first time I sang in public, I was 16 years old. Of course, I sang in choirs when I was younger, but that's not singing alone because you're singing with, 10 or 20 other kids. But the first time I remember, I was invited to sing at a wedding in Chicago at the airport, and I was really nervous. It was the first time that I sang in front of a crowd of 400 people at a wedding. And I was thinking to myself, what happens if I start on a key that's too high or too low, or I miss a beat? And there's no question that it is difficult the first time until you get used to it, and it's okay. You're allowed to be nervous, but if you let the nervous consume you, if you let your nerves consume you, then it's going to be very difficult. You have to take a few deep breaths and just imagine that you're there and no one else is there listening to you, or that you can't see anybody, you close your eyes, or everybody has a little bit of a different approach. But ultimately, just be confident, know that it's okay if you make a little mistake. Like Moshe said, you can cover it up. I just continue. If you start singing and then you stop in the middle and you feel like, oh boy, I just failed, everyone's going to know. First of all, half the time people don't even realize or don't pay attention. You're singing at a wedding, you're singing at a bar mitzvah. People are doing other things, so they're not paying attention to every single word. And even if they are, as long as you continue and show the confidence that everything's fine, half the time they won't even realize. And if they do, they'll think that it was intentional. And again, in the worst case scenario, if something goes wrong, just continue and you learn from your mistakes. And and that's really what it is. I did a concert, like Moshe said, this week, and two concerts I did on Sunday. And together we had about 25 or 2,600 people that attended.
2761? No, wasn't the right number.
Well, I don't remember the exact number, but there were a lot of people. But the beauty about that is when you do a concert and you go into a large stage, they shine so many lights on you that you actually don't see anybody in the audience. So it's beautiful.
Oh, so you don't see anybody. So and besides, you're probably just focusing on what you're singing.
Right. But the problem with not seeing people is you can't read them and you can't pick up the energy.
Mm-hmm.
So usually you sing and you see what people are into or not, and that helps you. But on the flip side, when you don't see anybody, it makes it a little bit more difficult. But Baruch Hashem, I've been doing this for
Now,
23 years.
One last question. Do you teach the music? Let's say teaching the keyboard, teaching these instruments. Do you teach them how to play? Do you teach kids how to play?
I don't. I don't teach kids how to play, but
would you want to?
no, Baruch Hashem, I'm busy. I do a lot of different things, and I still have teachers, believe it or not, that come to my house. My kids take different music lessons, mostly
Different
piano and
music
guitar.
Oh, wow.
And believe it or not, I still have every Wednesday a music teacher that comes to help me with different instruments as well.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So, what type of instruments is your favorite instrument? We're not talking about playing. What type of instrument is your favorite?
That's a very good question. I would have to say, for your realistic purposes, the guitar. But I do love the sound of the violin. There's no other sound like the violin. There you go.
Yeah, I know that sound.
See, we have a live violin in the studio.
Right. I'm, believe it or not, I am pretty good in that. Yeah. No boasting, but I could do the, the acapella stuff. I could do that.
Oh, that's great.
If people hired me, yeah. But anyways, getting back to, we have Shea Rubenstein in the studio, and we're now going to discuss his new CD that came out how many weeks ago again?
About 2.5 weeks ago.
2.5 weeks. So I see the name Sharia Plata. How did you come out with the meaning of Sharia Plata?
Yeah, so the name of the CD is called Shirei HaPleita,
Sharia Plata.
and
My
it's
mistake, guys. It's Sharia Plata.
yeah, close enough. And it's a takeoff of the people that survived the Holocaust were referred to as Sheres HaPleita. So what I did is I had done an event for Holocaust survivors at the JCC of Marine Park about a year ago, and I noticed that when I came up to speak, a few of the people asked me to sing. And when I got up to sing, I saw that that crowd understands Yiddish, and I started singing some Yiddish songs. And I saw how much it meant to them. It brought them back to a time when they were young. Remember that Yiddish is the first language for most, if not all, of Holocaust survivors. And many people still speak Yiddish today, although a lot of people don't speak Yiddish anymore. But of course, for the elderly and for the Holocaust survivors, it's still their first language. So I decided, what better gift to give our survivors, our grandparents, than to make a beautiful Yiddish album. So in order to make it meaningful, I actually I found songs that were created before the Holocaust by people who did not survive the Holocaust.
How long did it take you to find these songs?
So my mother was very into Yiddish, and that's, I speak Yiddish very well for that reason.
That's funny. My grandmother was into Hungarian, and as one of the famous ones, Szalasz Kokosz. But
Do you speak at least a little Hungarian?
Yes, I speak a little bit. But I'm not going to speak it on the radio. It's going to sound kind of funny.
There you go.
What do you say?
So,
Ken?
Why not? You have talent to languages.
yes.
Take it.
So essentially, I started. So I spoke Yiddish growing up, and even though I grew up in the Bronx, I spoke Yiddish already there. And my mother was very into Yiddish, so I had all the different Yiddish Zmiris booklets, and I knew a lot of survivors, and I just got to know a lot of Yiddish songs. And I actually every Shabbos would sing Yiddish songs at the Shabbos table, not a lot, but one every Shabbos. So I knew a lot of Yiddish songs.
We interviewed your kid. If your child came in here, how old is your child?
So Baruch Hashem, I have many children. I have 5 children, and yes, they all know Yiddish songs, whether they speak Yiddish or not.
And you said some of them are musical, right?
Some of them are musical.
Oh, well,
Actually, all of them are musical.
I wouldn't mind if somebody came in. Just not the one with the drums, please.
There you go. So actually,
the one with the drums. No offense, just we can't fit drums in this small room. We're gonna have to, maybe when we upgrade the studio, then maybe we can bring some big
That's
drums.
right. Listen, we have to make a campaign to upgrade the studio to get all the musicians and instruments in.
So for pay the debt.
Yeah, no, so Baruch Hashem, all my kids are musical. They all play an instrument, either guitar or piano.
Amazing.
And yeah, so they understand Yiddish, but for those who don't understand it as well, still sing all my Yiddish songs.
Okay, boys and girls out there, if you have a question for Shea Rubenstein of how did he start, what did he feel like when he started, or etc., you can call in 718-683-5858 or text 347-927-8398, and Nisim is going to be very happy to read it off to us, or just to send it to me. Yeah, anyways, talking about the new CD of Sharia Plata that Shea Rubenstein came out, and I recommend everybody who speaks Yiddish or who doesn't speak Yiddish to get it. It's very inspiring tunes. I've heard some of them. And let's start with the first one.
Before this, I want to read the text. My favorite is Vayetzev.
Vayetzev.
That's yes. Shea, that's you. His song?
My Vayatzev?
Yeah. Vayetzev.
That's on my last album.
Yeah, okay, so somebody...
They like that. What is the tune to that one?
Oh, okay. Wow. Well, first of all, thank you.
By the way, I didn't get the email for you yet.
Oh, you didn't get the email?
No.
Okay, yeah. I sent it to you, but
can send it later.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. But since we're live, I guess I'll... But thank you so much for Vayatzev. Yeah, so that was a great song. That was a... Oh yeah, and I
remember the tune is coming back to my head.
Yeah, so it's a very good.
So the song just pops in your head, you said, or just
no. So most of the songs actually on my album, my last album, most of them are either co-composed or composed by other people. Yeah,
but you compose your own songs.
I compose songs as well. Yeah, but you know how it is. You compose songs and then you meet with professionals and they and other
And they tell
people
you to
that
fix
send
this,
you.
fix that. Yeah,
No,
Yitzi
no.
Waldner. I know all these people.
Yeah, so it's not that you meet with them and they tell you. What happens is you'll come up with a great song, and then you'll meet Yitzi Waldner, and he gives you an even better
Even
song.
better song,
And then you're
right?
like, oh, I'm not going to sing my song. This sounds much better. But with Yitzi Waldner, I actually co-composed 2 songs. So I came to him with the model, and I said, this is what I want it to sound like.
How did you
And
come out with the song "Window in Heaven"?
so Window in Heaven was the same idea.
That was a Hanukkah one, right?
It came out Hanukkah, right? Very good. So I came to Yitzi and I said, this is what I want it to sound like. I gave him a bunch of bars. And then I told him the message that I'm trying to convey. And I told him how I needed it to be low and how it should modulate.
Wow,
And
unbelievable.
then we started making it. And, it wasn't good. It was good. Okay, we had part A. We had part B. What does the chorus sound like? So you kind of build it slowly. But he's brilliant. He does a great job at doing music. And it was amazing working with him, and I worked with Baruch Levine, and I worked
Oh,
with Yossi
I know
Green,
Baruch Levine very well. Yeah.
and I worked with a fantastic talent, Svika Borenstein, who in my next upcoming album, I'm putting out another album in March, he created a couple of amazing songs, and he actually composed, produced, and directed my music video called One Tiny Light.
One tiny light.
One tiny light drives the darkness away with just one single ray.
It's funny. You
Turning
sound the
night
same now,
into
and you sound the same by the
day.
counts. It's unbelievable.
There you go. I sound like the same guy. But if you go to YouTube or if you go to iTunes, any digital platform, and you type in One Tiny Light, you can definitely hear my latest music video that just came out. And by the way, I just want to let all J-Root listeners know that
Oh yes, I
the
forgot to
Yiddish.
mention right here we have Sharia plate CDs, and if you get the answer, you get one of them.
Okay, I just want to mention that although this album is a Yiddish album, there's a booklet inside with an English translation. So besides for following the songs, if you don't know Yiddish or you don't know exactly what everything means,
So you can follow in English.
you can follow in English. And
Wow.
I want to put out another offer. If anyone who's listening to this CD is a elderly person or a Holocaust survivor, I would love to give you this CD free of charge. So if you're able to email me, or if you're able to call my office, if Moshe allows me to give out the information, I'd gladly do that. And if you're an elderly person or a Holocaust survivor, it would be my privilege to send it to you in the mail as a gift for
Wow,
yourself.
that's a beautiful.
And by the way, I gave out 3,000 CDs to Holocaust survivors so far over the past 2 weeks. I did it for the most part
Did
through.
you say 3,000?
I did 3,000.
3,000.
I did it primarily through the different JCCs and federations that help Holocaust survivors. So that's how I did it quickly. I also did a beautiful concert when I launched this CD 2 weeks ago. I did it at the Museum of Jewish Heritage, and I had 250 Holocaust survivors
250.
at the concert. And I brought also the Swedish ambassador to come speak. And I gave a concert. It was really beautiful. And then, of course, as they left, we gave them a copy of the CD. But if you'd like to send me an email, my email address is Shea, Shea, Rubenstein, Ruben, Stein, at gmail.com. And my number at the office is 718-407-1832, 718-407-1832.
I have a different number over here. No, that's not the.
Well, I have different numbers for different things, right?
Okay, I'm not going to give that one out.
Okay, yeah, but if an elderly person, a Holocaust survivor, I'd love to. This CD is Baruch Hashem selling very well, and it's available on CD in all Jewish music stores. It's also available on every digital platform. So if it's YouTube, Instagram, if it's iTunes, Apple Music, Google Play, it's available. Spotify, it's available on all the.
Okay, since it's almost Shabbos, how does the tune Shabbos Hayom? That one I didn't hear, but I've heard some of the other ones.
Okay, so so this is a great song. And I'll sing you a few bars here. I wish you had the music pre-recorded so you can just play.
I'm sure Nisim can work on that.
But in the meanwhile, I'll sing a little bit for you, and it goes like this: Lamidu umfangen mit freiliche Gesangen, welle mir sich geben anem. In singens mir es is bechis vishir Shabbos hayom lashem. In singen mit kavune lekovidem atunifim bashefe vos is ins getrei. Is jedem chiev zu streben in Shea ewig zu geben, mi yoitzu ali berinai. Lekovidem atune de shaine, angreit machulim feine. De Shabbos is kedai. Nish kan sach kleiden, noy nor asach meiden, vegam harbi me Adonai. Lo nial velismayach, de Shabbos is hayach. I say lishmakim mitzvahs Hashem. Shabbos is heilig, in Veiles in zich heilig. Shabbos hayom lashem.
Wow, that's unbelievable. Phew.
Yeah.
My question, just to people the kids that don't understand Yiddish, can you translate it a little bit?
Sure. So as I mentioned to you, there is a booklet that has the full
You
English
can sing it in
translation.
English or no? That's impossible.
Oh, you know what? I never tried, so I don't think I want to do it live on the radio
Oh.
for the first time. But just to give you an idea, so basically, one of the zmiris that we sing on Shabbos is Shabbos Hayom. And this is kind of a takeoff where they took the song, but instead of just Hebrew, they turned it into a Yiddish version of it. So it's like a play on the song. So it's the song starts saying, let's start and sing beautiful songs, including the zmiris for Shabbos, so we can thank Hashem because today is Shabbos Hayom Lashem. Today is the day of Shabbos. We're going to sing with Kavana, and we're going to thank Hashem for the Matana because he was very trusting to us. What did Hashem give? He gave us the Shabbos. And then it keeps on playing through, the fact that Hashem is so good to us. He gave us the Shabbos. He gave us the rest. He gave us great food. And we shouldn't think about it so much, but just, buy more food for Shabbos and let's have an amazing Shabbos. And then we're saying that the Shabbos is hayach, which means it's very high. And, right, Shabbos is the highest day of the week. And we should do mitzvahs. Shabbos is holy. And, it's kind of like a play on Shabbos. So again, repeating it in English brings it down a notch. And then it obviously doesn't start to rhyme anymore. But even if you don't understand it, just follow it on the English side. And it's going to make more sense because I just did not read it.
Anyways, talking about Asar B'Teves, I see a song in there that was called, I believe, Gullus. Gullus, yeah.
So Gullus is a very famous song. I'm sure most people know it. And it goes like this. Vayigash, 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 Pisti. Shea Agdoishe, Vivat Pisti. Gules, Gules, Kemave, Genemen, Lameshaim beide zusammen kommen. Gules, Vayigash, Pisti. Shea Agdoishe, Vivat Pisti. Wenn de Gules wollt kleine gewein, wollt Shea Agdoishe neinte gewein. And what that means, and again, I apologize, my voice is a little bit off tonight, but...
You saying get too many counts?
Yeah. So Gullus was actually made by the Kalev Rebbe, who was about 150 years ago.
Not this Calvera, but the previous one.
His grandfather.
Grandfather.
And it's basically saying, Gullus, Gullus, how endless are you? Holy Shechina, how beautiful are you? Gullus, Gullus, please get taken away so the Shechina can reunite with the Yidden. So it's pretty much a bakasha and davening to Hashem that Hashem should make the Gullus go away so Hashem can become closer to us.
I'm
And
sure the
believe it or
kids
not-
listening to that song, and if they heard, maybe you should put it in English version, huh?
Yeah. And actually, the Kalev Rebbe, he also made the song Salakakash that you mentioned
did
before.
he really? Oh,
That's a real Hungarian song. I'll sing you a few bars of it.
interesting.
It's a real Hungarian. So for those of you who understand Hungarian, Naisale
Oh, no. I
kakashma.
sing that every week.
Mod Yamadar. Shaled Zeven, Shake me Zeven, Shayeteled Yamadar.
Okay.
Midon Yoma. Yeah, so it's
Wow.
very nice.
Interesting. So I recommend everybody get the Sharia Plato. And as Shea Rubenstein said, his new CD is coming out in March, I believe, right? March.
So this CD just came out.
Sometime in March, he's gonna come out with a new CD. And but get the Sharia Plato. It's the pre-Holocaust.
שארית הפליטה, right? שארית הפליטה?
So the name of this album is called Shirei, like like Shirim.
Shirei HaPlato.
שירי, okay.
Shirei HaPlato,
okay. The
and
song of the leftover, let's like
Right,
say.
The song of the
Yeah,
leftover because of the
Holocaust,
pre-Holocausters.
yes.
right.
Interesting.
It
So
sounds
this-
also, it sounds like the שארית הפליטה, the leftover, okay, but שירי, it's very good name.
Right. So it's actually because of the Sheret HaPlato. That's why these songs were all made before the Holocaust by people who didn't survive the Holocaust. So that's why I chose this name. And this CD just came out 2 weeks ago. It's available in stores or online on all major digital platforms. And my next CD, which I started singing songs from already, you can see them on YouTube. And I sang it at a concert with Nissim Black this week. That CD is going to be released in March. Hashem.
Sometime after Purim, right?
Yeah, so it's going to be released Hashem in March, and I'm very excited. There's going to be English and modern
English
Hebrew.
and Hebrew. Okay, that's
Yeah.
gonna be interesting.
It's going to be a beautiful album for sure. But focusing on the now, this is the album to
Right.
get.
I actually recognize the first name, Hillel Kapnick. It's funny. I know him very, very well. Happens to be a good friend from Mountaindale Yeshiva. So, Hillel Kapnick, thank you so much for presenting the CD. And yeah.
I now just know we are here now, and
Sure.
the time is flying away. Just almost we finished.
As I said, we have so much fun
So
here.
yes,
Time
of course.
flies.
Time
Exactly.
flying. And my question to you, I know that you are not a singer in your really, in the life, and talk about your personal life a little bit, if you don't mind. What you're doing.
Right, because I
What
know
you're involved, all this other stuff. I know that you're involved with community programs and a lot of stuff that benefits our community.
Yeah, so Baruch Hashem. So I do wear a lot of different hats, and I don't like to sound like a jack of all trades. So, every day when I'm doing something,
would you
I
wear
try to
this one?
stick with that hat. But Baruch Hashem, I have the schus to be involved in community, and Nissim, I'm proud to say that you're a part of the community as well. And I run the organization called the JCC of Marine Park, which acts as an advocate for the community. It's like an umbrella organization. So I founded the organization with two friends in 2008. So it's about 10 years now. And Baruch Hashem, it grew to an amazing organization that offers over 25 different services and programs. And not only for Marine Park, it actually, we have a lot of our programs that are citywide. So it's very, very gratifying to be able to help, thousands of people throughout the year. And once again, many different programs. And so that's something I'm very proud of. And within the JCC, we publish a magazine, and we have a Tamcha Shabbos, and we have social services and jobs programs and computer courses and youth programs. So the list goes on and on, Baruch Hashem. And then in my other life, I am also a builder. I have a construction company, and that's what I do for a living. So like this, I can do some chesed, and I can do the singing, which is a wonderful hobby and something I love very much.
Singing you don't do for a living. Okay. I know some singers, they
You know
do
what I always
singing
say?
for a living.
I say that I do singing for a living, but I pay my bills doing something else.
Okay.
But Baruch Hashem,
Welcome
having
to the
that,
club.
But you live on making people happy. That's basically what it is.
this is what we were put on earth for. I always tell my children, you can be someone who wakes up, works, and go to sleep, or you can wake up and make a difference in the world and make a difference to so many other people. So, and Baruch Hashem, I am a professional singer. I did get professional training. I'm singing for 23 years. I'm a chazan. I do
Right.
I do get
So where did
paid.
you get your training from?
So, and yeah, I'm saying when I say non-professional, I am a professional singer. I got trained. I went to Moshe Cohn. He was a voice teacher many years ago.
I don't know.
Then I went to some opera singers. I
Oh.
went to YU. So I got professional training, and then I became a chazan at 17, and I'm still a chazan ever
It's
since.
true that some people are born naturally with this voice, right?
So the way I say it is, you can always develop your potential. You can become the best Moish. You can become the best Nissim,
You can
but
become
you cannot become the best Moshe Stern, Benzion Miller, Chazan. You can't become the best Shweki singer. Shweki can become the best Shweki. You can become the best you. So if
Right.
you want to just become somebody else, that's not
That's not going to work, right?
You
So
have
kids,
to try
don't
to
look
become
at
the best you.
Don't look at somebody else what they have. As Shea Rubenstein nicely put it, try the best you can, and if you try your best, Hashem will help you. And so this CD was put out 2 weeks ago, as he said, and we are very happy to have Shea Rubenstein that was here with us.
So I have to
Any
tell
other
you,
messages to share with children?
yeah. First of all, I just want to tell you that, just speaking about the singing, so Baruch Hashem, I've been a chazan for 23 years and given many concerts, including this past Sunday. I gave 2 concerts with Nissim Black. I gave a concert last week at the Jewish Children's
With
Museum.
Mendy Pellin over there.
I gave with Mendy Pellin a
I'm gonna have to
concert.
interview him.
Yeah, he's a great guy. Love him.
He's a comedian.
He's good. He's a great comedian. But I've Baruch Hashem been afforded a lot of great opportunities because of the singing. I sang for many rebbes. I sang for many elected officials, including mayors and governors. And yeah, I've done a lot of interesting things. Sang at embassies, and I've done a lot of interesting things because of the
I
singing.
believe
So
you weren't by the White House. Were you by?
I was by the White House. I met the president last week. Yeah, I went to the White House.
What do you think? How do you think the president felt with so many people on top of him? You think he felt pressured?
So the president does this often. He's good. He's good. I'm not worried for him. He's a busy man. He comes out and he loves interacting. Remember that his son-in-law and his daughter are from people, and he likes the Jewish community. He has an affinity for the Jewish community, and he helped get Rabashkin out, and he does. He cares. So it's good that we have a friend in the White House. Even if I always say, even if you don't agree with everything that he does or says, you have to know when to. You have to understand that when it comes to an elected official, a politician, it's an issue by issue. You can't write off a politician because he's a Democrat, he's a Republican. Every issue, sometimes they can be good on one thing and bad on something else. That doesn't mean you throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Right.
But overall, I felt very fortunate. And not only did I meet the president, but remember that 300 people come from all over the country.
Yeah.
And these are 300 people who are askanim or influencers.
Yeah.
So I met a lot of amazing people. I had a great conversation with Betsy DeVos.
I know Kosher Guru was there. The Jacks, Turks.
He was part of the press. I met Ben Shapiro.
Anyways, I'm sorry
I
to
want to cut you off, just really our
really
time
have
is running.
1 minute left. I do want to repeat that the parsha riddle, the parsha question. It says Yaakov gave 2 brachas. Why did Yaakov give 2 brachas? And the answer will be in the next show. If you know the answer, text it to 347-927-3279. It's similar to the J-Root Radio one, and I purposely made it that way. This way it does not get that confusing. So you could be in a raffle to win the Shea Plata and that we just talked about. And the sponsorship is available, or you can advertise with me, or you can advertise with J-Root Radio, either one. We both get the money anyways, but I'm going to do offering a special deal if you advertise on my show. That's till January. You have $25 per show. $25 per show is pretty decent. We do have thousands of listeners, more than thousands, 10,000s, hundreds of thousands. How many? If you are listening, spread the word because we are coming up in the next. Anyways, this has been the kishroni hour. Official Schnechter follows me. Simcha by Simcha. Don't go away. Have a great Shabbos.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Anyways.
This is jrootradio.com.